Hello, Melton Guy here. We're on the day of the beginning of the Republican National Convention, or I guess some of us would prefer to say the MAGA National Convention, or I say RINO National Convention, because these are Republicans in name only. They apply it to others, but they are the ones who are Republicans in name only. And some would even say you could say a Donald Trump worship service. But for official matters, this is known as the Republican National Convention. I guess I got into all that because I remember the Republicans for whom my mom and daddy voted. I can remember very well when John F. Kennedy ran against Richard Nixon for the presidency. I remember very well that my daddy and mama voted for Richard Nixon. And what stands out in my mind is that my granddaddy, who in my mind was much more conservative than my mom and daddy, voted for John F. Kennedy. It's just a strange thing to remember. But that Richard Nixon was a whole different animal from what we're calling Republicans today, most of them. I remember some Republicans, maybe I'm stretching it, a Republican for whom I voted, maybe just that once. There again, that was a whole different animal. Did not stand up in a line with these people calling themselves Republicans today. I remember that I vehemently, on many occasions, disagreed with Republicans, and most of the time I disagreed with them in general, and I let it be known. Everybody knew where I stood. I've never been one to hold back in that regard. I remember that we, Democrats and Republicans, we would argue in those days. We would even get feisty amongst one another and with each other. Don't remember any fist fights or any guns pulled or any of that kind of thing. But during and after all the politicking, as they used to say, for our respective candidates, somewhere dignity would overcome lying and backbiting, and honor won out over any unfitness of any candidate. Yes, even the unfitness in our minds of a candidate. Honor would overcome it all. We were a different group. Democrats, I guess, were different. Republicans, definitely different. As I say, these Republicans meeting in the RNC today, they are not my mom and daddy's Republicans, not even mine in my past, and not my granddaddy's. And someone may be asking, were you saying that as a negative thing? I am indeed saying it as a negative thing. I want to put a picture in your mind, if I can. A lot of times for things everybody enjoys, and most everybody enjoys football, but we would absolutely be furious if according to the rules long held by the game of football were changed simply to award an opposing team a score because, let's say, Tom Brady played on that team and you were the opposing team, how furious would you be when they change the rules right in the middle of the game, making it possible, if maybe not handing them the victory, but making it very possible for the victory by changing the rules. And in this game that we're playing today, if you'll allow me to refer to it that way right now, the rules have been changed time and time again. You know, or some would say, we're making it up as we go to benefit, well, in our case, we know who. Just before I started doing this, I was listening to the news and just heard about Eileen Cannon, who just missed the document case against Donald Trump because of illegal special counsel. You know, the same kind of illegal special counsel that Bill Barr would call. The same kind of illegal special counsel that brought Bill Clinton up on charges. The same kind of illegal counsel that brought Hunter Biden to court. And all of that seemed all right. But when Donald Trump is the player, we're going to change the rules in the middle of the game to benefit that individual. The laws long held by this country that Donald John Trump, those laws that Donald John Trump had not only broken in public and behind closed doors, but now many of those crimes he will not even deny. And he shouldn't. Given the rule changes, and given the fact that a judge who just ruled to dismiss a major case against him should never have been on that court, should never have been the judge in that, and we all know that. You can deny and you say, oh, she'll do it. Well, she didn't do a good job, and she should be relieved, and I hope Jack Smith is ready to go and do battle. Because it's not right. Absolutely not right. Well, that's what just happened. But I don't blame Donald Trump for denying these, because he has that help, like Judge Eileen Cannon, like the Supreme Court and Congress and other judges who have simply changed the law to appease and empower the cult king for the very obvious. I hear and see these things so much, and I hear and see these things ignored so much of the time. And I talk and I talk and I hear others talking, and it just does not seem to be getting through. I find myself in a lone place, and I say to myself, it's sometimes in anger, sometimes in sorrow, sometimes in fear, but I say, God, help us all. God, please help us all. I want you to look around. I don't have a lot of viewers yet, but I hope that you, those that do listen to me once in a while, Well, just tell somebody else, because I want you to look around. I want you to see what has happened since. Just you can always go back to all of 2016, but I'm talking about just go back to 2020. That's when the violence became okay. And it was since 2016 till now that it's okay to have any kind of gun you want, no matter what the purpose of for buying that gun or stealing that gun or having that gun, however you get it. It's okay to have it, even if you can kill 15 people at one time. We were on vacation this past week, and in the elevator, I heard two women talking. And one woman said, now this was in Mississippi. We were doing a little gambling in Biloxi, and I was in the elevator. And one lady said, my husband she said, no, I just bought and she named off some numbers of kind of handgun that she got. And she said, she said, at 75 yards, I can knock the spots off of a leopard. And I didn't think much about it. And then the other one said, well, my husband just bought me a gun, a 357 Magnum, I think she said. And she said, you know, at 100 yards, I can take out a deer or a man or anything else. I didn't join in. I just listened. And I asked myself, is this normal? And then I had to answer the question and say, of course it's normal. That's what's taking place. Violence is okay. That's what we've been told by the Republican Party. Violence is okay. Breaking the law is okay. You can deny it, Donald Trump. Donald John Trump, excuse me. You can deny it because they're going to change the rules just for you. Are we going to allow it? Are we going to let it go on? What do we have to do? What do you have to hear? What do you have to see? You've seen a Supreme Court that's gone outlaw, and when it goes outlaw on the Constitution, that means it's going outlaw on you. Are you going to allow it? If you haven't spoken up, speak up. If you haven't seen, look around and see. Be real for once. Ask yourselves, do I want this country? And that said court, the Supreme Court, not only are they an outlaw court, they have some very questionable individuals in the courts that some who are obviously biased, some without that personal ability to tell right from wrong, and some who have enriched themselves tremendously by using their position and their decision-making ability and have made decisions affecting our country based on, let's just say, those gratuities. How long will we continue to go on like this? How long can we continue to go on like this? We have no supreme law of the land. Our courts we have people like Judge Eileen Cannon, who just dismissed a major case that we all know a serious crime was committed. But they changed it for a player. Tell me, is that what we want? Is that what we want to start happening in January of 2025? Are we saying we want a man who has committed so many crimes that we have lost count? Or in some cases, so many that we've just begun to ignore them. Do we want a tyrant? Want to be? Argue with me if you like, but I'll say this and I'll say it again and again. This is not my opinion. As many out there have said, you can argue, but we're holding the receipts. We got it on tape, video, and any other kind of communication. Is that what we want? That's all I'm asking. I'm not going to tell you what to choose. I'm not going to tell you what to think, tell you what to do. I'm just asking you to consider this. The election in November could be the next presidential election, or it could be the last. Thank you. I want you to remember that I do these podcasts, and I hope that you will give me a thumbs up if you like them. Let me know if you don't. Let me know that. I just want to know that someone out there is listening, and I want you to know that I watch many podcasts. Some I like, some I don't. But there are many of us out there trying to tell you, holding the receipts, trying to let you know what really is going on. I want you to remember my book. The sales have been respectable, but I would like to put it in the hands of many as I can. The Offspring of Ignorance. You can find it on Amazon. I hope you'll go out and buy it. I really, as I said before, I think you will get something out of it, whether you agree with everything or not. It's a good read, as someone told me many times before. But God bless you all until we meet at the next roundup. I'll be seeing you.